Hi, everybody. This is Angel Arts, and welcome back to another Let's Watch Another interview for the upcoming Mass Effect. Mass Effect? We were just talking about Mass Effect. It's actually Pokemon. See, it's not, you thought you were nervous. I'm nervous,
I gotcha.
apparently. You got me. Pokemon tabletop campaign. Thank you. And I am joined by Devon, also known on YouTube as Gentleman Gamer.
How did had a pleasure to see y'all or meet
Yes.
y'all.
Yes. So, yeah, we're just gonna hang out with Devin for a bit and get to know him a little bit better. So, my first question is, Devin, what is it about the Pokemon universe slash franchise that you are passionate about?
The idea of it always captured my interest the most. These creatures who are more than just pets. They're then far more intelligent than your average, cat or dog or whatever. Who are your friends and who, since far as the lore goes back to the beginning, just the idea of these awesome creatures who can do these amazing things. Like it's something I wish was in this world. Like, not so much the well for others I guess the battling portion, but for me just to have a, a friend who's a Pokemon would just seem so awesome. That's what I love so much about it.
What is it about tabletop gaming that is you're passionate about or interests you or intrigues you?
Well, I don't think my interest would be too unique in that one. I think it's something that most everyone who plays tabletop has said for. But just the how much more control you have over what happens in a game as opposed to like games like Dragon Age is they're great, but like I can do things in a tabletop setting that like you can't because you only have set pre-programmed responses and actions in games. Whereas this, you can, sky's the limit.
Devin, what do you believe makes you a good player to play with?
Um, Patience, I guess. Like I'm, although sometimes like politeness to a fault almost. Like it's sometimes my problem. Like I won't want to interrupt people, so I end up not saying anything. Making sure that everyone, if like someone, I do see someone who is like kind of like being cut out, like, hey, what do you have to say?
Mhm.
Which I've had to do before.
A true gentleman. Yes. What do you think will be your biggest challenge as a player, and how would you try to overcome said challenge?
So my biggest issue is my. You might not be able to. I'm kind of very introverted, like, but I can overcome that for short periods of time, and then I kind of get burned out. How is more just like how anyone does learn overcomes anything from repetitiveness. Getting out there, talking to people.
Then, my last question, as you know, part of what makes this campaign really unique is that you actually get to play two characters instead of just one. You get to play your own character, and you also will be playing somebody else's Pokemon. So my question is, if you could be any non-legendary Pokemon in the Pokemon universe, which Pokemon would you like to be and why?
So whenever I was choosing a Pokemon to choose as mine, like I had to narrow it down from like five or three or five. So it's kind of a toss up between a C dot and a Torchic.
Torchic.
C dot because I like trees.
You like trees. Mm-hmm.
Well, because like my neighborhood is like surrounded by, like these old tall oaks, and so it's like block like provide a lot of cover. And it's just a very familiar and comforting sight to me. Torchic or like that light because one, it's adorable, but two, fire. I've always been my favorite element. Not to sound like pyromaniac or like or nothing, but like just like back with the Avatar series, I was always my favorite. Like I want to be a
Oh,
firebender.
you firebender. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. Well, you are halfway through the interview. So that was it for the out of character question. So now we're gonna actually do some role playing. So this is how I want to set up the scene. The way I want to set this up is I want you to hypothetically, this is not obviously canon or anything, hypothetically pretend that Dr. Alex Ramirez is applying for, maybe he wants to apply for a new position somewhere, like maybe there's a new expedition or archaeological dig site or whatever that he wants to be involved with, something along those lines. But he, in order to apply to become a candidate for this new expedition or this new position, he has to go through this hiring agency. What kind of expedition? Like, I know that you said that in your interview he was mostly interested in how the Native Americans worked with Pokemon back in the day.
Yeah.
So, like, maybe maybe there's like a specific Indian clan. Maybe there's, or do you want to do something different from Indians for this interview? It's up to you.
We'll do something different, I guess.
Maybe Egyptian. Maybe Mesopotamian era. Egyptian. Let's do Egyptian. All right.
Yeah.
That sounds kind of cool, actually. Dr. Alex Ramirez is going to apply to join this new expedition in Egypt because they are going to some sort of archaeological dig site, and you wanted to go there to study how the ancient Egyptians worked with Pokemon back in the day. So you go to this hiring agency, and the agency itself, the doors slide open. It's relatively new building. It's still very clean and sterile, with the exception of all these inspirational posters saying you can get your dream job, and there might be yes, there might be bulletin boards that the community can like just staple things onto it for job openings. But you have a job already that you're trying to, you're a well-established professor or doctor, so you go in there, and there's a gentleman at the desk that you hand your paperwork into, and he looks up at you, and he actually eyes you up and down as if he's, impressed, almost like saying, wow, we don't get many people like you come into this place. And then he takes a stamper, and then he takes a look at the application, and he says, Ancient Egypt. Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Indeed, it's quite fascinating. Wouldn't you agree?
I'm kind of jealous that I'm not applying for this position. Well, he takes a stamper and he stamps the application. He hands your paperwork to you, and he says, "All right, Dr. Ramirez. Just go down the hall that way, down to 797, where you will have your in-person screening process. And Madame Vu will take care of you."
Muchas gracias. I'll head down there.
You're about to head out there, and when the gentleman pipes up again and says, I'm sorry, Dr. Ramirez, one thing to just mention to you.
See?
This entire process is, well, we're just trying this out. It's kind of new for us here at our facility. It might seem a little unorthodox. My recommendation to you, just a suggestion, is just go with it. Just go with it, he says.
Well, now I'm intrigued. Thank you for the forewarning.
Okay. You walk down the hallway, and you pass by a few doors, and then you do actually, one door in specifically catches your eye, and the reason why it catches your eye is because on the door, taped on it with like masking tape, is a folder like you would get from a filing cabinet, and on it is like marked with a marker 797. And if you were, it's actually starting to fall off a little bit, so if you actually peeked behind said folder, then underneath it, on the door, is the small name tag or this nameplate that says janitor. What do you do?
Is this the door where I'm supposed to be heading to?
797. That's what the man said. 797.
Well, I kind of stick it back on there because it's falling off, and then I knock.
You knock, and from a muffled voice, you hear, Come in, darling.
I picture him in, like, since his interview, he's like in a 3-piece suit, looking nice.
Yes. Yes.
And then you open the door.
You'll open the door in your very fancy schmancy 3-piece suit. And the first thing that you notice is that your nostrils are invaded with the smell of incense in the air, thick smell of incense, followed by some odd music in the background coming from a door in front of you. But the door in front of you is not actually a door. So you open the janitor door, and it takes you into this small room, but directly in front of you, across from the janitor door, is a beaded curtain. And you hear a woman's voice from the other side says, "Come in, come in. I've been expecting you."
It's always nice to be expected. Yeah, and I open the curtain and step in.
Yeah, you open the curtain, and behind the curtain, you see a fairly dimly lit room with candles. Right in front of you is a round table with a crystal ball and a woman who is ostentatiously dressed. She has very dark skin, long but manicured fingernails, lots of jewelry, lots of bracelets, lots of necklaces. And she's sitting here behind this crystal ball, and she says, "Don't be shy. Don't be shy, dear. Have a seat. The mind's eye saw you coming and is getting ready for your job screening."
I will. I know, walk up like in front of the chair, kind of bow. Thank you for seeing me, Senora.
Ah, a pleasure. Such a very well-mannered individual. We don't get very many of your types here. It's a welcome change. I am Madame Vu, Deja'Vu, but you can call me Madame Vu. I know all, see all, as it pertains to this position. And I am here to tell you, or to check to see if you are a good fit for this job. As long as you answer my questions honestly, everything will go silky smooth. She says with a smile, and you can see like a gold tooth as she smiles.
Well then, let's get us underway, shall we?
She places her hands firmly on the table, and she shuts her eyes, and then she starts to make some... And then she stands up erect, straight. And then she opens her eyes suddenly and she says, "I see that you are a man who knows the past very well. Always seeking knowledge to questions of ghosts from way back when. Is that correct?"
It is, Madame.
Yes. You used to, in the most recent past, be most interested in the ghosts of the past of the Native Americans of North America. But you are now seeking a position, don't tell me, of the pyramid variety. Lots of heat and sand. Egypt is where you're setting your sights. Is that right, darling?
That's quite astute of you, Madame.
Oh, yes, yes. Yes, the spirits are on the ball today. My first question, Doctor. Why do you believe you are the right person for this particular expedition?
I have been studying the past, the ancient past, for as far back since I was very young. That the best way to the future is to study the lessons of the past.
Secondly, I see not only the ghosts of the past, but ghosts, or one, in a literal sense. A rather mysterious, mischievous creature. What exactly Do you perceive this specimen that you possess? What role do you believe it will play in this expedition?
I believe you were talking about Ms. Drivas. She has been my friend and ally since as far back as I can remember. She has kept me company, and her abilities have kept me safe in my rather more risky expedition trips into the unknown past.
What do you believe very deep down in your heart, in your soul? What do you hope and believe you will get out of this experience?
The short answer is knowledge. The long answer is I wish to show the people, the present, how they got here, what their ancestors had to go through, what the trials they had to do to make their modern lives possible, and based on those, how they can make the future even better.
A very noble, noble goal, she says, and then she clasps her hands. I have no other questions for you, but I do have one more thing I would like you to do for me before you are dismissed. A psychological exercise, if you will. Tell me, Doctor, are you familiar with the 3-card tarot fortune?
I've seen such things before, yes.
Just to reiterate, the reader, such as myself, has a deck of tarot cards from which she chooses 3. 1 to represent your past, 1 to represent your present, and the last to represent your future. Today, we are going to do something slightly in reverse. And then out of character, she pulls out a small deck of cards, which she will then hand to you. Now, instead of tarot cards, each individual card in this deck actually represents one of the types of Pokemon, one of the Pokemon types. And she will say, look through these cards. You can look through all of them. Pick one to represent your past, one to represent your present, and the last one to represent your future, and then interpret them for me, please.
He goes through the cards, looking at them one by one, thinking carefully. It takes about 10 minutes. Thinking carefully, he doesn't do anything halfway. For the past, and he pulls out a card and lays it down. It's the ghost. My first real interaction was with, well, the one I call friend now, Ms. Rivas, the ghost. But it also represents, as you've said several times, the ghosts of the past that intrigue me so. For present, he'll look at the cards again, pull one out, set it down the middle. Fire. It represents the fiery climate I live in, but also my passion for what I do, my love for what I do. It burns like an unquenching flame. For the future, pulls the last one, sets it down, flying. Just soar into the future and soar high and see all. This makes it sound like I don't wish to see all in your sense, but I want to learn as much as I can to expand my horizons. And at others' horizons, to show them that there is more than just the box they live in.
An excellent, excellent reading. Thank you. Perfect, she says as she starts to gather up the cards. With that, she says, I will officially approve your screening. And then with that, she takes another stamp and then stamps your document. She hands your paperwork back to you and she says, the very last thing that we need you to do, Dr. Ramirez, she she says. Just go next door. There is a camera set up. A gentleman there will help you to record a message that will be sent directly to your prospective employer at the expedition. Give them your pitch as to why they should choose you for this project.
Very well then. Thank you, madame.
Thank you, darling, she says, and then she gives you a, or you're dismissed kind of
Hasta
shoo.
luego. And I'll turn and leave. Good day, sir or ma'am. I am Dr. Ramirez. It's a pleasure to introduce myself and to express my desire to join your expedition. And I thank you for giving me the time. Aside from my over decade-long love of education and even longer of exploration, I suppose is a good word to put it, I've always held interest in the past, in how things worked, in how people lived, and how they lived, they learned, they loved, all of it. But especially, in my case, how they did so side by side with Pokemon. I want this to be a learning experience, not just for me, but maybe for yourself and the others on this expedition, and perhaps the world, to have even more reason to appreciate this bond that we have with Pokemon ladies. How lucky we are to have them. And the best way to show people now and have them remember for the future is to study the past. And I hope you give me that chance.